We understand how important your time is, and we're so grateful that you chose to spend it with us today. From our students and faculty, our valued donors, our honorable college trustees, our volunteer boards and representatives from the college's administration, including our amazing president, Dr. Darian Pollard. Thank you all for being here today. None of us, though, would be here if it weren't for the dedication and hard work of a very special group. Our hosts for today's luncheon, the Montgomery College Foundation Board of Directors, and I'd like to ask each of them to stand and be recognized. It is their hard work that ensures that every student possible have the financial means to attend Montgomery College. You know, the Montgomery College family looks forward to this day because not only does it provide our students with the opportunity to personally thank their donors who are making such a profound difference in their lives, it provides us an opportunity to thank those who make our work at the foundation possible. And if there's one thing we know for sure, we know it takes a community of dedicated and extremely generous people. People like Cliff and Camille Kendall. The Kendalls give so generously that literally hundreds of students in our community have a fighting chance at the American dream. And not only do the Kendalls support their students at MC, they follow their students and they pay full tuition and books to make sure that they obtain their bachelor's degree at one of the University of Maryland schools, many at our local universities at Shady Grove campus. And it's people like Sonia Herson, who's here today with her daughter Lynn. Sonia, I know Joe would be smiling that you're here. Just a small portion of the numerous students your family has put through Montgomery College. And it's people like Ken Becker, and the vice chair of our board with his wife Arlene, and here with his two daughters, Allison and Michelle, with tables full of Becker students, as they are every year, carrying on the Arthur and Miriam Becker legacy. And community members like Jay Willard and Alice S. Marriott, who are represented by Ann Gunsteins, their incredible executive director of their foundation. The Marriott family ensures hundreds of students not only get their hospitality management degree at MC, but they go on to get their bachelor's degree, many at our local USG campus. People like Erica Weber, representing the Weber Family Foundation, who has given nearly $1 million. The Weber Family Foundation's support of the MC's Global Humanities Institute ensures our students are prepared to compete in this global economy. And it's people like Donald Don, the president of the Gordon and Marilyn Macklin Foundation and nephew of the late Gordon Macklin. Mr. Macklin was the founder of NASDAQ, as well as a strong advocate for community colleges. Through his vision and generosity, he and his wife created the Macklin Business Institute, a world-class honors program at Montgomery College. I'd like to think that Mr. Macklin understood the return on investment for his investment in Montgomery College. And Angie Henson of the NASDAQ and the Educational Foundation, which along with the Macklin Foundation supports scholarships for MBI students. And community members like my Leadership Montgomery classmate, Crystal Carr-Townsend. Crystal, I haven't seen you today, but I know you're here. She's the executive director of the Healthcare Initiative Foundation, who just pledged $1 million to provide 112 students the ability to attend MC and then go on to get their bachelor's degree at USG in the important field of health sciences, which we're going to need desperately in this county. We are honored that community members Cliff and Debbie White are here with us today, whose early support of our ACES program was crucial to its success. Our ACES program, which mission is to get first-generation college students into MC, and like others in the room, not only are they going to finance their MC years, but they're going to follow them and finance their BA at the universities of Shady Grove. Another ACES supporter, major ACES supporter, is Allison Henderson, representing Westat. Allison, I didn't see you. I didn't know you're there. She is sitting with their inaugural class of ACES students, over a dozen, and that is going to be instrumental in transforming that program. We're very grateful to the many clubs and organizations who are here today. For example, the Community Foundation for the National Capital Region and its affiliate in Montgomery County, who's represented by their new Executive Director, Anna Hargrave. Anna, thank you so much for the Community Foundation support. And this year, we are beyond thrilled to count the newest members of our donor family, the Clark Charitable Foundation, represented by Mrs. A. James Clark, Courtney Clark Pastrick, her daughter, and Carter, her granddaughter. Thank you for being here today and for your support of our world-class engineering program. We're very much looking forward to hearing Courtney a little later today. The foundation is also very fortunate to have the many chambers in Montgomery County we count as friends. And today we want to recognize the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce, who along with one of their partners, Jim Meir, who is a VP at Hughes Network, also a proud alum, yes. And together, they have provided nearly $250,000 in support of our scholarships to our engineering and computer science. And I'd like to ask Dr. Pollard, could you please come up for a quick presentation from Dr. Marilyn Balcom, who is the president of GGCC, and she wants to make a quick presentation to the group.
I love big checks.
Yeah. Literally, big checks.
Thank you. The Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce understands that workforce development is the backbone of the economy. Our businesses rely on an educated, skilled workforce to get things done, and the college is an important partner in that. I wanted to say two things. One, to the donors in the room, thank you, and please continue to give generously. But for the students in the room, I'd like to encourage you, when you finish your formal education, please stay in Montgomery County. We need your talent, we need your expertise, and we need your energy to stay here in Montgomery County. Thank you.
We are just so grateful to Marilyn and all the members of the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber for your commitment to our students. Thank you so much. You know, when I accepted this job as executive director of the Montgomery College Foundation, I knew I would be raising money for scholarships, much like the work I've done my whole life at Hopkins and other institutions. But I've learned after a few years on the job that we actually aren't just raising money for scholarships. We are raising money and awareness for what I believe is the most important mission in our county and perhaps our country. Community college has become a great social justice movement to ensure that those who are bright and ambitious but struggling financially have the opportunity at a better life through the gift of education. Another thing we know for sure is that poverty is the greatest barrier to completing a college education. And to combat that issue this year, with the help of everyone in this room, the foundation awarded more than $2 million in scholarships to over 2,000 students. That was a foundation record. And this year, we experienced an 87% increase in scholarship applications to the foundation. Now, this is an 87% increase over the 61% increase that we experienced last year. So I can certainly say another thing we know for sure is the need is growing in this county. Beyond the record number of scholarship requests the foundation we also received a staggering amount of requests for emergency assistance funds. And I don't know if you all remember, but the Emergency Assistance Fund is this fund that's been set up by donors who want to help literally the hungry and the homeless in our population that are trying to get their degree or credential. One request we received this year was the most heartbreaking I'd ever gotten in my entire 25 years in nonprofit work. I want to share it because I believe it illustrates both the times in which we live and the profound resilience of our students. You may have read about it actually in the Washington Post as our school year began last September. A professor wrote to us to advocate for emergency assistance funds on behalf of a young student who he told us and we confirmed was classified as in excellent academic standing. The professor shared that this student's young nephew, who lives in DC, got into an argument at school with an older teenager. Later that evening, that older teenager came to his home and shot and killed the MC student's sister and critically wounded his nephew. And through the support of donors, many of whom are in the room, the foundation was able to help this student with funds for housing and other necessities so he could stay in school and try to obtain custody of the now 2 motherless nephews. What is the good part is I'm happy to report that this student is still in school with a strong grade point average and continues to study for his degree, ironically, in criminal justice. The sheer determination this student has to finish his education and improve the trajectory of his life and the life of his family, it's not uncommon at MC. Now, I shared this with our board of directors, and like you, they want to know what they can do to help. So Ken Becker, our vice chair, proposed to the MC Foundation board that they create a board of directors challenge for this very scholarship luncheon. So it is with great pride that I announce that for every dollar we raise today at this luncheon, the Montgomery College Foundation's Board of Directors Challenge will match dollar for dollar to up to $50,000. That is amazing. So I ask you, if after today's program you are so moved, please help us maximize this gift challenge by filling out the envelopes on your table. No donation is too small or too big. Thank you for your consideration. And now it brings me great joy to introduce our first speaker, who is nationally recognized for her wise leadership and incredible vision. I don't know of an award she hasn't received, so it would take me all the rest of the day to tell you about that. But what I can say is I am very privileged to work alongside her in this community college movement. Please welcome my friend and mentor and the best community college president in the country, my very own Dr. Darian Pollard.
So I'm somewhat a little biased because I happen to believe we have the best community college executive director of our foundation in Carol ROGNRUD. She and her team are simply outstanding, and since I have the mic, I would like to take a point of privilege in thanking our team of wonderful employees from our foundation, also our team of employees from our advancement area, special events, MCTV, communications, all of them who come together, alumni affairs, to make sure that this event is a memorable one. So good afternoon and welcome to this year's Scholarship Luncheon. I am absolutely delighted to see so many of our scholarship recipients and donors all in one space. In fact, Robin and I were commenting at our table, it's amazing to see each year how this event has grown and the representation of charitable giving that's represented here in this room. I wish that we did this more often, that we took the time to bring scholarship recipients who are grateful for the opportunities with generous scholarship donors. When you make a scholarship gift, you do it because you believe in the power of education. You know that it's going to help someone grow their life because of the opportunities that will be expanded for them because they are now educated. Now, you might imagine what doors might be open for them, but it is really nice to be in the same space and to see that happening right here, to meet that person who is the gift of your generosity, and to see how it is working to transform their life. I know that it has been personally inspiring for me to get to know the scholars who have benefited from my own 2 scholarships in our family, one named after my father and one after my son. And I'm very happy to meet my scholarship recipient this year because I have not only the strong belief that he's going to change the world, I happen to know that he's going to do that. Now, I mention these gifts because I want to point out part of our motivation for making them in my family. Clearly, Robin and I are passionate about education. We are the beneficiaries of education and know that we have changed the trajectory of our family simply because we are educated. But we also want to teach our son about giving. We want him to grow up understanding that very few people get where they are entirely because of their own efforts. Education is costly, and I wrote about this just earlier this month in a Washington Post op-ed, but it can be life-changing in terms of its opportunities for individuals. I know this from leading Montgomery College, but I also know this firsthand because I was a scholarship recipient. That is why we are here today. When a community cannot provide enough opportunities for its young people, either through affordable education or through jobs, it is a people with a vision who must recognize that we have to build those opportunities for others. It's scholarship donors who build them with their gifts. It's colleges and universities that build them with their programs, and it is educators who build them with their knowledge. Now, we sometimes often look over the professors when we come to these types of events because, quite frankly, they're usually teaching right about now. But this year, I brought several Montgomery College professors who share an honorable distinction. Each of them has been named the Maryland Professor of the Year at some point in the last 12 years. Montgomery College has claimed that spot 9 times in the last 12 years. That speaks volumes about the excellence that our faculty bring to the classroom. So why does all this really matter? It matters because you are creating opportunity when you have all of the right pieces in place to create that. You have to create an ecosystem of success. You must have ambitious, hardworking students, dynamic programs of study, visionary donors, and creative, passionate faculty members. These professors, some of who are here with us today, plant the seeds of curiosity and discovery in their students. Now, when I talk about teaching and learning, it's these teachers I'm imagining inspiring our students with their energy and their talent. It's these teachers who are showing them how to transform their lives and how transformational learning can be. We have a short video to share with you so that you can see some of these extraordinary faculty members in the classroom.
When I heard that I'd won the Maryland Professor of the Year, it was a whole gamut of emotions ran through me. I was very honoured and felt very humbled at the same time. Honoured to be acknowledged as a good teacher, but also humbled because I know so many other good teachers, and to be singled out was a bit embarrassing.
The Montgomery College Foundation Board of Directors and Dr. Darian Pollard are pleased to recognize members of our faculty selected by the Carnegie Foundation and the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education as Maryland Professors of the Year. This is the 9th time in 12 years and the 7th year in a row that a Montgomery College professor has received this prestigious recognition.
I try to create opportunities to the students to bring out the teacher in them. And I want them to consider the profession of teaching.
I want to be a professor in future, hopefully. And she helped me a lot. Like, she showed me how to care for each student, like, to show them that, like, you're not different.
If I practice what I preach, the idea that I'm living and breathing in real time, it forces me to believe in the fierce urgency of now. That the transaction between me and the person that's in front of me, on stage or in the classroom, is the most important thing at that time.
Council for the Advancement and Support of Education and the Carnegie Foundation partnered to select outstanding educators from all 50 states and U.S. territories. The winners are chosen on the basis of their extraordinary dedication to undergraduate teaching.
I don't think that as teachers, as professors, we are confined only within the walls of our own class. So we should extend beyond.
Those students that make me realize this is more of a mission than a job.
We are honored to count these outstanding professors among our faculty. Our students benefit from their dedication to their professions and their student success. Congratulations to all 9 of our Maryland Professors of the Year.
Can I ask all of our Maryland Professors of the Year who are here today to stand for a moment so that we can recognize you? Come on. They are simply spectacular. When Montgomery College students are given a scholarship, it is so that they can sit in the classroom of faculty just like the ones that you saw. I think a lot of these scholarship programs as a way of thinking about creating an infrastructure for opportunity. And after you hear from me, a member of the Clark family is going to speak. And in case you don't know the Clarks, construction is their business. This is important because of a metaphor I'd like to use. If you've ever watched a building construction take place over a period of months or years, you realize it takes an immense amount of planning and coordination to make that building come to fruition. First, you typically see an enormous pit in the ground being dug up. Then you see the foundation being laid and the scaffolding going up. And then there's wiring and the walls and all kinds of other things, and then the roofing ends up on top. The number of specialists who have to coordinate a project like that is simply mind-boggling. But when you see the building at its finished, it is absolutely miraculous. Building opportunity is something like that as well. First, you need people who can see the outcome before they start. And these are our donors and our people who work in higher education. You need qualified faculty and facilities. You need ambitious and hardworking students. And you need a lot of joists to connect all of these parts. The A. James Clark Engineering Scholarship is a good example of this. It's a lot like one of those walkways you see on a construction site that connects one wing to the other wing. We're creating the infrastructure of opportunity. We're growing higher education so that more people can take advantage of it. We're investing in homegrown talent in Montgomery County. In fact, every donor who is here today has created one of those walkways for someone else. Can I ask the donors in this room to please stand so that we can recognize you? Every scholarship student here has had the opportunity to walk through a doorway and to walk on a walkway that will take them with courage and hard work to many destinations. Now, I want to point out a special group of students who have been supported by scholarships, our ACES students, our program now that has just over 1,700 students enrolled in achieving collegiate excellence and success. For those of you who are not familiar with this program, it's a partnership between Montgomery College, Montgomery County Public Schools, and the universities at Shady Grove, in order to provide access to those members of our community who are all too often underrepresented in higher education. The program provides the tools and the skills and the support that these students need to obtain their baccalaureate degree. Now, let me assure you that when we say the word members of the community who are too often underrepresented in our community in higher education, I'm talking about students just like me. Students who came to college in lots of ways, confounding stereotypes of who they are and what their potential is. If ACES had been around, and I won't say how many years ago, I will share with you that I would have been an ideal candidate. African American, check. Low income, living in poverty, check. First in my family to attend college, check. And I'm sure that you can see a little bit about why ACES is so close to my heart and so near and dear to me. It is my passion for these students that oftentimes reminds me about why we do this work. But the passion I have for them is reflected in the outcomes. I'm proud to say that ACES has a 91% retention rate, and that is much higher than the 71% retention rate for all students at Montgomery College. Some more great news. The GPAs of our ACES students are higher than the wider student population. These are some of our neediest students. These are students that some people might call at risk. However, at Montgomery College, we call them at promise. And we know that they are at promise because they are excelling at Montgomery College. And that is very inspiring to all of us. It also says a lot about the work that is being done in this program. Financial support is a part of that program, but also mentoring, academic support, and learning communities are other parts of what happens in that program. And there's a lot of it to be done. There is an infrastructure of achievement at work here that I believe is ready to be expanded beyond the 10 Montgomery County high schools that we're currently in. And as I mentioned before, one family understands building very well is the Clark family. And I mean that literally as well as figuratively. They have seen how education can change lives because they have been extremely generous to Montgomery College as well as other higher education institutions in Maryland. Their gift to the college of $500,000 to establish the A. James Clark Engineering Scholarship in honor of the late A. James Clark has given engineering students the chance to study and train at Montgomery College. Now, you may not know this, but this is particularly important because Montgomery College is first in the nation for the number of engineering students who transfer to four-year institutions. We have Oh, it gets better. It gets better. We have the largest engineering transfer program in the country. And I'm not saying the county, I said in the country. And we're the largest because we have over 3 times the next level of folks who are right behind us. 3 times that number we have at Montgomery College. We have 11 different engineering specialties and 1,500 students majoring in that field. And as I said, this is 5 times larger than the second largest program in the country. Engineering students at Montgomery College transfer to some of the most competitive engineering schools in the nation, including MIT and Georgia Tech. But what we are most proud of is that the majority of those students in our engineering program transfer to the A. James Clark School of Engineering at the University of Maryland, College Park. And that is why I'm so pleased to introduce this year's donor speaker, Ms. Courtney Clark-Pastrick, president of the Clark Charitable Foundation and daughter of the late A. James Clark. This is the first year that the Clark Scholarship has been enacted and already has 13 students who have benefited from their generosity and vision, and many more will come in the years ahead. I want to personally thank the Clark family. Ms. Alice Clark is here today as well, because your commitment to the National Completion Agenda is profound. I know that the part of the Clark family's vision is to increase the number of highly qualified engineers graduating and working right here in Montgomery County, as well as nationally. And I can assure you that those scholarships created by this generous gift will honor Mr. Clark's legacy so well. You could not have chosen a better college that is more dedicated and better equipped to accomplish that than Montgomery College. Thank you for your generosity and for your vision, and please help me join in welcoming our special speaker today, Ms. Courtney Clark-Pastrick.
Thank you, Dr. Pollard. I am so pleased to be here at Montgomery College with students, faculty, and guests, and to have this opportunity to recognize and applaud all of the scholars in the room today. My name, as she said, is Courtney Clark-Pastrick, and I'm here on behalf of our family foundation, the Clark Charitable Foundation. We recently established the A. James Clark Engineering Scholarships at Montgomery College in honor of my father, who passed away last year. I'd like to share a little bit about why my family and foundation chose to invest here in Montgomery College students and why we are so passionate about the transformative effects of completing one's education. My father grew up, attended high school, and built his business right here in Montgomery County. He was a civil engineer and a builder, and you may see the blue and white Clark construction signs around town. This was the business that my dad worked in since 1950 when he graduated from the University of Maryland, and he helped grow his company into one of the largest general contracting firms in the nation. My dad was so proud of the buildings that Clark Construction built. Montgomery College's Science and Technology Center on Rockville Pike, the Verizon Center, Nationals Park, FedEx Field, 28 metro stations, the National Museum of the American Indian, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, soon to be opened, and many, many more. Years before having his company's corporate headquarters in Bethesda, my dad was an 18-year-old living in Montgomery County whose family could not afford to send him to college. But his family believed in getting an education. Fortunately, my dad received a full scholarship and attended the University of Maryland's engineering school. Receiving that scholarship and completing his college education, working hard every day in the classroom, and then working just as hard in his job was essential for his success as a person and the company that he built. There is a picture of my dad when he was a student and just getting started from the University of Maryland. The scholarship and college education he received was truly transformative to his life and his family's. We all know that education provides opportunity. My dad also believed in giving back to the community where one lives and works. As he became more successful in his business, he had the opportunity to give back with both his time and his money. One of his favorite things to support was scholarship programs and the next generation of leaders in our community. He enjoyed learning from students just like all of you, and when he met them, he enjoyed talking to them and learning about their experiences and what their education could do for them. If he were here with us today, I know he would have a lot to talk to you all about and be very proud of you. Many years ago, my dad established scholarships at the A. James Clark School of Engineering at the University of Maryland in College Park, his alma mater. Recently, the foundation learned that Montgomery College's engineering program is ranked, as you just heard, one of the best in the country, and is first in the nation for the number of engineering students who transfer to four-year institutions. I am so impressed with Montgomery College, and I am so proud that it is right here in our county and educating so many future engineers. The Clark Charitable Foundation knew that my dad would want to support the next generation of local, talented engineers who are starting their education here, and we are very proud of all of the recipients. We knew that completing your education is essential for your success, as we knew that my father could not have completed his own education without a full scholarship. So to all of the recipients in the room today, and to honor my late father, the family challenges you to always be the hardest working person in the classroom and on the job, and to complete your education and in turn give back to your community. You are our future, and we all believe in you. Before I introduce today's student speaker, I would like to further the Clark Charitable Foundation's commitment to Montgomery College. Carol shared earlier the Board of Directors' challenge to raise additional money to meet the needs of the increasing number of students who apply for scholarships at Montgomery College. The Clark Charitable Foundation today commits $25,000 to this challenge, and I hope others in the room who are able will join us. I am now very pleased to introduce today's scholarship recipient speaker, Ms. Princess Rockefeller. Princess, wait a minute, it gets better. Princess is a second-year chemical engineering student on the Tacoma Park Silver Spring campus. She is one of 13 recipients of the newly established A. James Clark Engineering Scholarship. Please help me to welcome Princess Rockefeller.
Good afternoon. My name is Princess Rockefeller, and I'm very happy to be here representing all of the scholarship recipients in the room, as well as the hundreds of others who couldn't join us today. First and foremost, I want to thank the scholarship donors here, as well as those who couldn't be with us. In particular, I wish I could thank the late A. James Clark, my scholarship donor, for recognizing that having access to a quality education is key to improving our society. Since I am not able to thank him, I would like to thank his wife, Mrs. Alice Clark, and their daughter, Courtney, who I just had the honor of meeting. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank the entire Clark family. Thank you. I never had the opportunity to meet Mr. Clark, but if I had, I imagine we would have a lot to discuss, including our mutual love of engineering and the opportunity it provides for us to explore and create. We could have also discussed how fortunate we feel to be recipients of college scholarships, without which we couldn't pursue our interest in engineering. And finally, if all goes as planned, we could have both talked about holding engineering degrees, but I would remind him that his is from the University of Maryland, while mine will be from the A. James Clark School of Engineering at the University of Maryland. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so let me back up and tell you a bit about myself. I was born in the US and moved to rural Nigeria when I was very young. While living there, I learned to make do, as we often did not have access to necessities like paper materials, soap, or even medicine. I also didn't have access to tools or chemicals needed to make these necessities. It was because of this that I developed my interest and aptitude for do-it-yourself projects and in creating and using homemade alternatives for hygiene products such as toothpaste, as well as household products. Without realizing it, these obstacles ignited in me a love of chemistry and engineering. My older brother and I moved back to the US when I was 9. Our mother is a nurse practitioner and is the sole financial provider in our family. Our father, who himself was an engineer, is unable to work after a car accident in 2009 that left him disabled. In addition, I have a grandmother who I also live with and take care of, who is also disabled. Just as living in rural Nigeria ignited my interest in chemistry, living with my father, and then my grandmother ignited an interest in learning how to care for the disabled. In fact, I recently took and passed the boards to become a certified home health aide so I can better take care of my mma, which is a Nigerian way to say grandmother. And I did this while attending Montgomery College full-time as an engineering student. When I was awarded the A. James Clark Engineering Scholarship, I wrote a letter about what the scholarship meant to me. In it, I said that I have always tried to make sense of the old adage that money can't buy you happiness. What it can provide, I've realized, is opportunities. For me, opportunities have come in many shapes and sizes. First off, I was born into a family that values education above all else. I was born into circumstances that required me to become a resourceful and very creative thinker. The next opportunity I had was to attend McKinley Technology High School, where I was a member of the robotics team and where I had the very good fortune to meet my mentor, Mr. Kenneth Leslie, who grew up in a small farm in Pennsylvania and went on to graduate from MIT. Mr. Leslie taught me that the true value of an education is the ability to share your knowledge with others in an effort to make the world a better place. Another opportunity arose when I was accepted at four-year universities, who offered generous scholarships, but ultimately would have meant that I graduated with quite a bit of debt. This realization led to a life-changing opportunity, which is to attend Montgomery College, where I have the very good fortune to learn from world-class professors who, in addition to knowing all about atoms and elements, reaction rates, quantum theories, also knew something that was truly priceless: my name. Like the Maryland Professors of the Year, who are here with us today, my experience is that the professors at Montgomery College are not only true scholars, but they are also great mentors, committed to the individual success of each and every one of their students. My final opportunity, at least for now, is to be with you at this luncheon as a representative of my family, my classmates, my friends, and my fellow scholarship recipients. Today's opportunity is for all of us to get to meet and thank the individuals who, Mr. Clark, recognize the life-changing opportunity you provide through the scholarships you established. Thank you.
Wow, she makes me proud. So that concludes our program, but I wanted to thank Courtney. Thank you so much for being here. Mrs. Alice Clark, thank you, and Carter. Thank you, Princess. We're going to expect great things from you, and we'll be watching you. As the executive director of the foundation, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you to please help us like Courtney did. Thank you so much on the Clark Charitable Foundation. Help us reach our challenge, Board of Directors Challenge Match. There are going to be students at the exits collecting envelopes, which are on your table. So thank you so much. Travel safe and enjoy.